How come they're so far forward on his face and they kind of stick out?
Why don't you try feeding him, and I'll show you what happens.
Oh, okay. He didn't get it.
No.
He's quick,
he's
though.
startled you. There he
Oh.
goes. Now watch his eyes. See what he's doing with
Oh,
his
they
eyes?
move back in his
That's
head.
right. His eyes are sitting almost on top of the roof of his mouth. And when he swallows, the muscles in the back of his eyes pull the eye and push it into the roof of the mouth, and he uses that to help him swallow his food.
So his eye muscles actually help him eat on top
That's
of
right.
everything else.
That's right.
So all animals don't have to have the same kind of eyes.
That's right. They live in very different environments, and they have different requirements for vision. Now, here's another salamander. This is called the newt, and he's common in upstate New York where we are, and also some of his relatives can be found all over the United States.
Mm-hmm. Well, his eyes are way over on the sides of his head.
That's right.
It doesn't look like he's looking forward.
Well, he can see forward to some degree, but he doesn't use binocular vision the way we do, who have our eyes aiming forward.
Binocular
he can
vision.
see, binocular vision is an overlap of the two fields of view so that you can judge depth. And he doesn't do too much of that.
Oh.
So he gets a good view all around him. He's very visual. He uses his eyes to detect moving objects that might be food. He looks out for predators that might be creeping up on him and from behind. So he can see things sharply all the way around from his nose, almost all the way to the back.
Without moving his head like we have to do to see what's behind us.
That's right. He doesn't focus the light rays on one particular spot in his eye the way you and I do. You're looking right at me, but can you see the aquarium over there?
No, not unless I look at it.
That's right. This newt would be looking at you, and he might still see the aquarium over there and know it was an aquarium and be able to see some more detail. He also uses his eyes to recognize other newts. You see his little red spots?
Uh-huh.
Each newt has his own set of red spots, like a fingerprint. And we've done enough behavioral studies to indicate that he can probably recognize other newts as well.
You mean his vision is so good that he can see these little red dots and tell one newt from another?
That's right.
That's incredible.
Another thing that's incredible about this animal is that he can regenerate his retina. The sensory part in the back, which is connected to the brain, can be removed, and it will grow it back, and almost no other animal can do that. And we're interested in finding out some more about how he's able to do this, because it would be very useful to us to know how does a tissue like nervous tissue grow back and function again.
So he's real helpful to us.
That's right.
Oh, fish.
Yes, this is a sunfish, a bluegill.
Mm-hmm.
What do
Looks
you
like
see?
there's a big clear part over his eye.
That's
Almost
right.
like a bubble.
That's his cornea. We have corneas too. The outside part of the eye that protects our eye is the cornea. You'll notice his is especially large.
Mm-hmm. And sticks out.
That's right. What
Why?
else do you see about his eye? If you look through the cornea, what else do you see? Look at him straight head on.
It's almost like the part that I would think was his pupil sticks out. The part that's like his real eye.
Well, it looks like his pupil, but it's not. That's his lens.
Uh-huh.
It sticks through the iris and comes out into the front part of the eye where the cornea is. It's almost completely round like a ball.
What's the iris?
The iris is the green part of your eye, a colored part of each person's eye, which controls the amount of light that enters.
Well, why does a fish have a round lens?
Because light that travels through water follows a different path than it does through the air. And that lens has to focus the light in a different way on the fish's retina.
So every different shaped lens focuses the light a little differently?
That's right.
Can we get a better look at his eye?
I'll try and catch him for you. You can look at him head on. If
You can catch him with your hands?
Yeah. Do you see his lenses bulging out into the
Yeah,
front of
you
his
can
eye?
see that it's half of a complete circle.
They're quite round. Now try moving your hand around to the end of the tank and see if you can attract his attention. Get him to move his eyes.
Oh, there.
You see him move his eyes? He has quite a wide field of vision. Again, from the front of his body all the way around to the side, and he can rotate his eyes, and he can see a large part of his environment all at once by being able to move his eyes like that. And because he's so thin, he can also direct both eyes towards the front, and he can get quite a good view of things happening in front of him at the same time.
He's almost got the best of both worlds. He can focus in straight forward or go
Go
sideways?
all the way around to the side.
No, it looks like his two eyes can move independently of each other.
At times, he can look at two different areas and move one eye a little more than the other to accomplish that. So he doesn't have to have both eyes moving at the same time, the same way, because he can see such a big field. By being able to move his eyes a little independently, he's also able to hide from possible predators by not moving too much. And he's also able to hide from his prey so that they swim close enough for him to catch. And he saves energy. He doesn't have to spend time moving and moving around in the water. He doesn't have to move his body. He can just move his eyes.
What a beautiful bird it is. Hello. What kind is it?
She's a white gyrfalcon.
A white gyrfalcon. Where's she from?
She's from the high Arctic. Her parents came from Greenland.
She's a raptor. That means she's a hunter. And she has her eyes towards the front of her head so that when she's looking for prey, she can see them better.
So having her eyes in the front like that gives her a better ability to judge distance from her prey?
That's right. She can focus on what she's chasing. She doesn't worry about something chasing her at this point. She's flying 500 to several thousand feet up in the air, and she's chasing other birds in the Arctic.
Mm-hmm.
So she has to be able to use her vision in both estimating distance between her and the object she's chasing and keeping it in good focus for long periods or for different distances.
Does she see different colors?
Yes, she has the ability to detect different colors. Whether or not she perceives them the way we do, we don't know. If she only were able to see in black and white, an animal that's sitting very quietly on the ground may be harder to
She wouldn't be
find.
able to see. So she can see colors.
Birds like this have incredibly acute vision, and they can probably see better at a greater distance than you or I can. Now, a cat has some really special eyes. It's a hunter and hunts at dusk and when the light's very dim, so it has to have very sensitive eyes. It has to be able to detect movement and shapes when there's very little light around.
Well, is a cat's eye actually different to make it so sensitive?
Its retina is much more sensitive to light than ours, so it has to have a special mechanism to allow its iris to cut off lots of light so only a little gets in and it can still see in the daytime.
What is that mechanism?
Look at the cat's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see that its iris is a different shape than ours, and its pupil isn't round.
Yeah, its pupil is sort of long and thin.
Yes, and if I shine light into it, watch what happens.
Oh, it really closes up.
That's right. And in bright sunlight, that pupil can close down to a mere slit, and it really restricts light coming into the eye. Our eyes can close down into small circles, but not as efficiently as a cat's eye, becoming a slit. So less light will get into the cat's eye in bright sunlight.
Because their eyes are more sensitive than ours.
Their eyes are more sensitive and they can't see as well in the same light environment that we do, if they don't exclude that extra light.
Well, does the pupil work in reverse then? Can it get bigger to see better in the dark?
Well, that has more to do with the overall width of the cat's iris. If you look at her eye, she has a very large iris with respect to the whole size of her eye.
Yeah, the cat's iris, the colored area, seems to take up the whole eye. There's almost no white there.
That's right. And so for the size of her eye, she'll be able to get a much larger pupil or opening than we will.
Oh. Is it true that a cat can see in the absolute pitch dark?
No.
No?
No animal can see when there's no light. Here's a very different kind of an animal. This is a hermit crab. Hermit crabs have no backbones. Animals without backbones are called invertebrates, and animals with backbones are called vertebrates.
Then horses and dogs and cats and birds and frogs are all vertebrates because they have a backbone?
That's right. And the hermit crab and flies, all the insects, clams, snails, don't have backbones, and they are invertebrates.
Oh. Well, what difference does that make with their eyes?
The eyes in these two groups have evolved very, very differently. They have a totally different structure. Look and see where his eyes are. See, they're on little stalks.
At the end of those little stalks?
The ends of these little stalks are his eyes.
Uh-huh.
The animal, instead of having one eye, which looks at the whole world outside, has many, many smaller eyes, which look at the same area.
So each little eye sees one part of the world?
That's right. And each little eye has a structure that in some ways is similar to a whole vertebrate eye. Now, in order to compare a vertebrate eye with an invertebrate eye, a little drawing would be helpful. And the vertebrate eye, light comes through the protective covering here, the cornea. Its amount is controlled by the iris as it passes through the pupil. It's focused here in the lens, and it's perceived by photosensitive cells in the retina. Each eye can look at quite a big area in front of it. But in many invertebrate eyes, instead of one single eye structure like this, there can be many, many little eyes, all which look at the same area as a vertebrate eye. And each of these eyes has a structure similar to that of the vertebrate eye. They have a protective covering through which the light passes. The light is then focused by some type of lens, and it's perceived by photosensitive cells at the back. So each eye sees a small part of the total world, and together, all these many little eyes combine to form a picture of the whole surrounding.
Oh, I see.
Whenever there's trouble, we're there on the double. We're the Bloodhound Gang. If you've got the crime, we've got the time. We're the Bloodhound Gang.
Which way you going, mister? You all right? Hey, be careful. You need a doctor, mister.
Guess what? I programmed our birthdays into the computer. In the year 2190, your birthday will fall on a Wednesday.
I can hardly wait.
Is the detective in?
Oh, Mr. Bloodhound is on a case. Can we help you?
Oh. Well, I hope so. There's someone missing.
Who?
Me.
Sir?
I don't